this part of the video, I'm going to go into some of the ins and outs of Zoom meeting settings. This is going to be more for my teacher friends who are embarking on the new virtual classroom starting this week, specifically in the Lincoln Public Schools, but maybe other friends across the country and or across the state. So this is a free Zoom classroom that I have right now. This is my personal one. My work one is a pro account. So I have a little bit more ins and outs. I'm not sure what everyone has access to, so I'm going to start with just the free account settings. So as you can see here, you've got your Zoom app, which you can start your meetings and you can schedule reoccurring meetings and everything else in. But when you log into Zoom on a browser window, you get a lot more setting capabilities. Okay, so when you're going through, I'm just in my account and I've gone to my settings here. You have all of these different toggle buttons that you can choose to have or not have. So I like to start with my host video on. You can always turn that back off. Participant video, I like to start with that off for my students because oftentimes I'm going to have some sort of a shared screen activity for them to start on while we're waiting for everyone to get into the room. Telephone and computer audio, I go with computer audio only because I don't mess with the telephone audio with my particular students. And I also know that with the mass usage of Zoom lately, I think Zoom has actually been making this, the telephone side of things, not as accessible just because the mass usage. Allow participants to join the meeting before the host arrives. I keep this off because it puts my kiddos in a waiting room so that they only enter when it's time. And there's actually a setting that you can go in and you can set it to chime for when kids join your waiting room, even if they're late to class. 15 minutes late, you'll hear a chime and you'll know to let them into the classroom. I don't use the personal meeting ID. I just let them use the links, not requiring the passwords or anything like that. Embedded password and meeting link, I keep that on so that all they have to do is click the link to join my classroom. Mute participants upon entry. Yeah, buddy. That way you don't have, in my case, 34 students with their mics on. It's definitely a classroom management tool to be able to have those mics on and off, and you have the settings within the meeting to turn everybody's mic on or individually turn them on. All right, so upcoming meeting reminder, that's personal preference. I've got my Outlook calendar. Chat, allow meeting participants to send a message visible to all participants. Yes, it's a FERPA thing. Make sure you don't let them save the chat. So I prevent saving chat options. This is personal preference as well. Send one-on-one message to another participant. You can turn this on and off within your meeting too. You have the capability to turn chat capabilities on and off. This may be a classroom management preference. They should always be able to private chat you as the host, but if you don't want them private chatting each other as students, like talking through class, I would turn this off. I do not auto-save my chats. Play sound when participants join or leave. Ding, ding, ding. That way, if you're in the middle of teaching parallelograms and Timmy shows up a little bit late, you know he's sitting in the waiting room and needs to come into the class. And heard by host only. That way it's not distracting. Okay. Saving that. Feedback to Zoom, display end of meeting experience feedback. All these are our personal preference. I have these all toggled off for my personal reasonings. Screen sharing, I'm hosting only that as the teacher. I can always change that later on, but the kids have the video. So if they need to show you something, they can show you on the video. It's the camera. And if it's something they want to turn in, like a physical writing or a typing assignment or something like that, they can email that. But that, again, is a personal preference for me. So save that. Annotation, allow participants to use annotation tools. These are great. And I'll share a GIF later, or I'll put it in the links below, that is shows the students exactly where to go to find their annotation tools. And what's really cool about the annotation is it can be on a whiteboard, it can be on your PowerPoint presentation, you can even be watching a video from like Khan Academy or Engage New York or Embark and pause it, and you guys can write directly on the video that you're sharing as well. I have found that super helpful in regards to math as well as science. Like I can pause a video and I can say, okay, make your predictions on the board, or pause a video of any kind, whether it's grammar or reading or things like that. You can pause it and have the kiddos annotate right on the board. Whiteboards, auto-save whiteboard content. I don't do that. If it's something I feel like I need to save, I'll screen capture it. You remote control, you can allow students to have control of the shared content. Again, that's personal preference on how you want to manage it. In meeting, these are the advanced settings. Breakout rooms can be really great as far as group work, or having them go to a breakout room and work for a little bit on a problem and then come back together. That's something you might want to ease into. Starting out working with the full classroom is probably step one, and then managing the different breakout rooms. Once my kids have the feel of the virtual classroom and they know what my expectations are and they've been practicing it for a while, then I can usually trust them, and I'll assign like a group leader and a group note taker and give them those assignments in the breakout room and say, okay, boys and girls, I'm going to send you to a breakout room for 10 minutes to work on these questions from the story we read this week about solar energy. I have a discussion leader, I have a note taker. When we come back together, I want you to be ready to post a picture of what you guys put on the board. So they're note taking, they screenshot it, and then I allow them to post it to the board. Remote support, I have captions, all that stuff. I don't have a personal need for any of those with any of my students right now, so I have those all turned off. If you do have anyone that's hard of hearing or ELL or things of that nature, the captioning could be really helpful. Virtual backgrounds I have on for now because it's super fun. I usually have a Death Star behind me most days. It can get a little tricky if you don't have a green screen or a nice blank background behind you, so you may want to turn that on or off. Most of the rest of these I do have just in general turned off. My waiting room is turned on. When attendees join a meeting before the host, I have it turned on because sometimes my kids will get their times wrong and they'll try to join a room, or they'll try to join the wrong room. I have lots of reoccurring meetings, and I have my students grouped by ability. So I've got my red group, my orange group, and my maroon group. And say Timmy joins the orange group, but he's in the red group. It emails me when he's sitting there, and I'll be like, hey, Timmy, don't forget, we're in the red reading group, so here's your link for that. And then when a meeting is canceled, notify the participants, of course. You never know when you might have to have a day off. The rest of these are just for me. So there you go. There's kind of a quick rundown of the things that I have found to work and not work in my particular meeting.